Hello guys, it's your boy Moevibez. Today we're gonna be doing a reaction to an interview Andrew Tate did with Piers Morgan. This should be interesting just because they've been trying to ban him through everything, so let's see how this plays out.
Andrew Tate's the most famous man you've probably never heard of, but the chances are your children will have. Videos of Tate have been viewed billions of times online. He's built an enormous following of mostly young men, and his often scandalous views about women that have made him notorious across the world. Views like this.
Already, just off that, I can already tell where his viewpoint stands against Andrew Tate.
Well, I think my sister is her husband's property, yes. When a bride is walking down the aisle to marry the groom, the father walks next to her and gives her away. True or false?
Tate's opinions on mental illness are equally controversial.
I don't believe in depression. Don't message me about depression because I don't believe in it. If you're asleep in your bed in the middle of the night and you hear a noise and you believe in ghosts, now you're afraid. But if you don't believe in ghosts, it's the wind and you go back to sleep. You give the ghosts power by believing in them.
Well, this summer, every major social media platform banned Tate amid a global backlash and concerns about his influence on the young people.
Honestly, in this situation, I would say that they take a 15-second clip and then just boom, attack him with that, but they don't really watch the whole full podcast.
But copies of his videos are still shared millions of times every day. This show is called Uncensored. One of the challenges views directly, so he flew from Romania to sit here in this studio, and the full explosive interview airs later this week. Here's a bit of what's to come. Do you respect women?
Absolutely. Why wouldn't I?
Do you think that 18, 19-year-old women are more attractive than 25-year-old women?
I think there's attractive people. That's a loaded question. I don't know.
Well, it's not really, is it?
I can't.
You know why I'm asking it?
Of course I do, but I can't sit here and
for
say.
For the benefit of viewers who don't know why I'm asking, you said this. In general, this is also one of the reasons men find youth attractive. You want to blow up the internet? I'll blow up the internet right effing now. The reason 18 and 19-year-olds are more attractive than 25-year-olds is because they've been through less dick. People say, oh, you can't say that, but yes, I can. A 19-year-old is more attractive than a 26-year-old woman, and I'll tell you why. Because that 26-year-old has talked to more guys.
I mean, with freedom of speech, you can say anything you want, but you also gotta be able to understand you gotta face repercussions if you say something wrong.
Been to the club more times, been effed and dumped more times, more arguments, more mess, more for me to clean up. That is misogyny.
Why?
Because you are encouraging a mindset about 25-year-old women that makes them sound out to be infinitely less desirable than 18, 19-year-olds, and having effectively been having too much sex to be taken in a more respectful way.
Well, firstly, even if that was the case, that wouldn't be misogyny.
But what did you mean by what you said?
That's not misogyny because it's not anti-women. I'm saying that an 18 or a 19-year-old woman would be more desirable.
Pretty anti-25-year-old woman.
Anti-25-year-old women we can argue, but not misogyny.
Well, that's misogyny.
No, it's not.
Well, being anti any woman at all is misogyny.
Not when I'm saying that women are beautiful and attractive at a certain age and saying the age.
You're saying 18, 19-years are more attractive than 25.
Well, they're ageist, perhaps, but misogynistic, absolutely.
Is that really? But you just accepted it was misogyny.
But he won't let this man finish his point. Damn.
No, I didn't. You said it was misogyny. I'm telling you, no, it's not.
If a 26-year-old woman is watching this and has heard those comments, would you just say to her, look, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that?
No, I won't. I will say that I am sorry that offends you. However, there's a large contingent of the world.
That doesn't mean you're sorry.
No, I'm not sorry. That's the point I'm making. I'm sorry if that offends you. However, there's a large contingent of the world that believe that, and I was mediating for a conversation.
Parts of the world that believe that about 26-year-old women.
I gotta respect. He stands on his moral. He stands on what he believes.
Parts of the world where women are not allowed out on their own.
That's a conversation.
They have to wear full burqas.
Well, that's a conversation.
They're not allowed to drive cars.
That's nothing to do with it.
But is that the kind of world for women that you?
I was mediating a conversation.
No, I'm asking you what you think.
I don't live in a country where that happens.
You're using that as the excuse for why you're not sorry for saying it.
It's not an excuse.
Is that there are parts of the world where this is fine?
My friend.
So my question to you is, well, do you think it's fine?
I don't think it's fine. I live in a world where...
You don't think it's fine?
The reason
This isn't that hard, Andrew. You can simply say, Piers, you know what?
Bro.
With the benefit of hindsight, I wish I hadn't said it.
What is there to even react to? They're having a topic, but not even a conversation, because he just keeps interrupting them.
And if a 26-year-old woman's watching, I'm sorry I said that, because that actually is blatantly misogynist. And even though that's a view held by other parts of the world, it's not a view I share. Now, I would respect you more if you said that than if you try and say, well, it's said in other parts of the world, so I'm not sorry.
I think
that doesn't tell me what you think.
Then you need to understand why my content existed in the first place. My content existed because I tried my very hardest to be an absolute and utter realist, especially with uncomfortable truths. I was pointing out that very uncomfortable.
Is that a truth?
It's an uncomfortable truth in many parts of the world. It's not a truth that I'm happy about.
An inquest this week found that a 14-year-old girl, Molly Russell, died from an act of self-harm while suffering from depression and the negative effects of online content. The coroner said she was exposed to material that may have influenced her in a negative way, and in addition, what started as depression and become a much more serious depressive illness, and she very sadly took her life.
That's absolutely disgusting.
Right.
That's terrible.
A father's campaign for better protections against potentially dangerous social media algorithms, right? It says that the particularly graphic content she saw...
but like, no offense, but let's let him finish this point before I say what I'm going to say.
Particularly graphic content she saw romanticized acts of self-harm, normalized her condition, and focused on a limited and irrational view without any counterbalance of normality. First of all, what is your response to that? Nothing to do with you.
That's the first thing. Yeah, it is nothing to do with me.
That's what I was thinking. Like, you know, at the end of the day, you know, it's unfortunate that ever had to take place. That's just heartbreaking. But how are you going to try to put the blame on him when he's just someone who makes content? Like, that's like me making content and a narrative is being pushed that people don't like of me, and then are labeling me some type of way, and then trying to blame me for someone like a child like that taking their life, when that's not even, there's no correlation to prove in a sense. So it's just like, it's very unfortunate, and that's not necessarily his fault. Like, you can't put that blame on him. You know, he didn't know the woman or the little girl. Like, that was low-key some trick play that the interviewer Pierre was trying to throw at him.
A 14-year-old girl took her life is truly sad. The world we live in today is the world we live in. The fact that something like that happened is almost mind-blowing to me. That's truly sad. I actually feel sad inside to see something like that.
What has come clear to me in the interview is that a lot of things you say you wouldn't say now that you've said before.
I'd say them differently, perhaps.
Yeah, right. So to me, that's an acceptance. Not just that you want to get back on platforms, because maybe that was one of the reasons you were no platform, but that you've recognized and understood the potential harm to the wrong kind of impressionable mind by some of the things you've said. Would that be fair?
I think that's 80% fair. I recognize and understand that with massive fame, you have to be more careful about being misconstrued. Like I said earlier, 1% of people misunderstanding you doesn't matter with a small audience. It matters with a very large audience. With power comes responsibility. I still believe the things I say. I do not want to be a negative force for the world. I also understand that I am a man who's lived a very difficult, nuanced life, and I am capable of making nuanced points that may be misunderstood by teenagers.
Yeah.
However, that can be said about anybody and everything.
That's what I'm gonna say. Like, content that Andrew Tate has to provide, I don't recommend teenagers, like young teenagers, young kids, consume his content, because you guys just don't understand. You guys are gonna blow it out of proportion. You know, there's more for like older people.
Every opinion online can be misunderstood by children. Trying to protect children from the internet is a very interesting subject in and of itself, because I would argue that 80% of the content on the internet can be negative or detrimental to a young mind that doesn't understand the world.
Dang. That's facts, though. That's true. There's a lot of things that are being pushed on little kid shows and things like that. Certain propagandas and agendas being pushed. Obviously, nobody like to talk about, but Andrew Tate comes in the picture and everyone is slandering him. So it's just, I don't know. It's kind of like, it's a little weird. Andrew Tate, he held his own. I'll definitely say that. He was getting interrupted a lot, for sure. He was barely letting him talk until the end. Honestly, I agree with a lot of what he had to say. He has good points, and he was being respectful about it. Yeah, people are saying the same thing, like, he keeps cutting him off. I mean, it's true. The longer they keep deplatforming him and giving him still attention, the more his fan base is still gonna build. Like, and just how he was saying it, and there's a different interview, how he could remain his clout, basically his relevance, without the help of social media. It's kind of proving it just by using other people's social media and him not having one because he's deplatformed. Yo, he be taking dubs. Even after they try to slander his name and take all his shit, you know, he's still taking W's. Gotta give it to him. But yeah, that's it for this reaction. If you guys want me to react to more videos, more Andrew Tate type videos, red pill content, make sure you guys let me know in the comments below. And if you guys are new to this channel, make sure you guys subscribe. Appreciate everybody's been subscribing and helping me grow. It really means a lot. And yeah, let's get 2,000 subscribers, man. On the way for sure. But all right, y'all, I'm gonna wrap this video up here and I'll catch you on the next one. So be easy.